Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. I recently saw the film Shazam, and I wanted to cover some interesting things I saw within this film. Before I do, I want to offer you a fair warning. This is not going to be a basic review of the film Shazam. If you're new to my channel and new to my videos, I'll be showing you things in this film that I imagine nobody else will be showing you. Because here on my channel for years, typically what I look into are subliminal messages, the language of symbols, the occult in modern media, which means hidden in plain sight. So if you're interested, please stick around. If not, I'm sure you can find tons of basic reviews of the film Shazam. Shazam is definitely a wish fulfillment type character. I can see how children would really like this character. The hook of the film is that a young boy named Billy Batson can simply say a magic word, Shazam, and he's transformed by a magical bolt of lightning into the world's mightiest mortal. He possesses the combined powers of 6 mythical, quote, gods and heroes. What first stands out to some of us, or those with the eyes to see, is the symbol of the lightning bolt. For the last decade, we've seen a lot of things being revealed. We've seen an explosion in the occult. Primarily, we see this in our modern entertainment. Movies, TV shows, even commercials, we consistently see the same symbols over and over again. What's even more interesting is that all of these symbols can be directly connected to Satanism and even witchcraft. This is what I call the revelation of the beast system. As the veil lifts, more and more truth is coming out about everything around us. And how now, more than any time before, our reality is being shaped by satanic ideas. This is a picture from several decades ago of Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey was the creator of the Church of Satan out of San Francisco. He's also connected to many celebrities and high-profile politicians. I wanted to use him as an example for this because of his obvious connection to Satanism. So here we have a picture of him wearing a symbol around his neck that he made famous in some circles. It's the upside-down star, which is the pentagram, with the lightning bolt right in the middle. Anton LaVey actually called that Lucifer's lightning bolt, and for good reason. All of this connects back to the Bible. It connects back to Luke, when Jesus said, out of his own words, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." Other interpretations have him saying, "I watched Satan fall from heaven like a lightning flash." Another one is, "I watched Satan falling from heaven like lightning." And this brings up a good point. Most of you who are watching my videos who've watched other videos of mine in the past, I don't think this will come as any big surprise. But if you're new around here, it certainly will. Because in our modern media, all around us, before our very eyes at all times, we're constantly being told warped versions of Bible stories. And again, this is the occult. This is hidden in plain sight. So not everybody has the eyes to see this kind of a thing. This is a spiritual language. This is why you can find very split audiences on this kind of research. Some people have the eyes for this, they understand, and others just think you're crazy, right? They think you're nuts. You're seeing things. Or you're off your meds. So knowing what we know now, you can ask yourself this question: why is it that lightning bolts show up in so many Disney animations? If you just do a simple search online for this, you'll get plenty of examples. Once again, we're being told these biblical stories, sometimes very warped versions, but it always goes back to the Bible. And this is coming from Disney, one of the largest corporations in the world. And I'll give you a few more examples as well. And this is from Metallica, one of their albums, and of course you have the serpent right there in the center, surrounded by lightning bolts. Here's a collage of the lightning bolt symbolism we find, again, so often in our popular entertainment. Whether it be movies, music videos, it's all around us. Here's another example from Marilyn Manson, who's an out and proud member of the Church of Satan, also a Freemason. But here's his shirt with the lightning bolt. And of course we can't forget Harry Potter's scar. And what was his scar? It was a lightning bolt. This franchise of books and films have indoctrinated millions of children around the world into witchcraft, without them even realizing it. This is why we have to understand the language of symbols. It fills in the blanks. This draws that connection to Satan. This draws that connection to satanic ideas. Meanwhile, parents all around the world buy their children these books, they take them to these movies, and they have no idea how deeply they're really being indoctrinated. And again, we can't forget Sweet Jesus Ice Cream Company, which promotes all of these satanic symbols. Even right here, we find the lightning bolt once again, and the upside-down cross. And of course, Shazam isn't the only comic book character that's powered by lightning. Thor is another example as well, and Thor, of course, in the comics is considered a god, a demigod. Which at the end of the day is really what all of this stuff is about when it comes to superheroes. These superheroes are the demigods, they are the fallen angels. And this is why we find the all-seeing eye being the symbol of Comic-Con, the most famous comic convention in the world. Because this isn't only about indoctrination, it's also about us worshipping the fallen ones, these comic book heroes. The all-seeing eye being a standard symbol of the beast system, or some may say the Illuminati. So now we have the latest example of this, the new indoctrination, the same old symbol. And of course it's a kids movie. It's almost always kids movies, isn't it? But now you have a better understanding of the history of this symbol and what it really means. Once you start seeing it and understanding it, you'll see it everywhere. There's a new movie coming out called Hellboy. Here's another example. In the commercials, they literally say we need a savior from hell. So here's an image of Hellboy and the lightning. So here's another variation of biblical stories that we see in mainstream entertainment. This is from Aquaman, and Aquaman symbolizes the beast rising from the sea. This is an image from the Aquaman movie. You can look center screen there and you'll see 7 tall statues, massive statues. Throughout the film you'll see other massive statues or titans, and some of these are actually chained. All of these exist in the depths of the ocean, the bottom of the ocean. So even here you have the Nephilim giants, if you will. You have the fallen angels chained in darkness in the depths. Whenever Billy says Shazam, he's not just calling out to the wizard who gave him his powers. Each of these letters stands for one of the, quote, gods that give him his powers. So here we have Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. So here's where it gets very interesting, and once again I believe it proves my point. So much of our modern entertainment is truly satanic in nature. But once again, so few people see this. So just a few years ago they completely changed the, quote, gods that Shazam references whenever he says Shazam. As we see here now, it's Siva, Hranmir, Anapel, Zonuz, Eight, and Mamaragan. So pretty soon you're going to see that all of these gods have something in common. Just take a look at the image right here. Obviously we're dealing with some kind of a demon, right? A demonic force. As they say here, a, quote, old god. And in the Bible we know the old gods as fallen angels. Once again right here we have Hranmir. And what does that look like to you? It looks like another demonic type entity, right? At the bottom it even says that Hranmir is a, quote, god of death. So here we have goddess Anapel, and Anapel is described as a mother goddess type figure. But just looking at her we can tell what this is. This is in reference to the mystery schools. Mother goddess worship even. Now here's yet another old god, quote-unquote, Zanuz. And here's an image of Zanuz from the actual comic book, and once again looks very demonic in nature, referencing the horned gods. As we know, Satan goes by many names and comes in many forms, and one of the most popular forms is as the horned gods. The next god is Ate. This is considered a real-world, quote, god from Greek mythology, or one of the Titans, perhaps. But Ate is actually a Greek goddess of mischief, delusion, ruin, and folly. Ate also refers to the action performed by a hero, usually because of his hubris, that often leads to his or her death or downfall. The mythology personifies Ate as the daughter either of Zeus or of Eris. Just by the description alone, this goddess sounds demonic in nature, right? This is also an indirect reference back to mother goddess worship. And the last god is Mamaragan, a lightning god from Australia Aboriginal mythology. And now they claim it's the source of Shazam's lightning powers. So once again, I find that very interesting. They took the original 6 gods, if you will, and they replaced them with something much more demonic and dark. Obviously, they don't show this in the movie, they don't even talk about it, and they may never will. So we've already covered the lightning bolt, and I think by now you can probably see the obvious connections there. But there are a few times in the movie where, once again, they just verified this observation. Even the bad guy in this film represents one of the most common, what we call Illuminati symbols or satanic symbols that we see in everything now. And that's the symbol of the all-seeing eye, or the one eye of the beast system. Most of this goes back to Egyptian mythology. It's also connected to Freemasonry. And we'll cover a bit more about that a little later. But this is Dr. Sivana. He's the bad guy in the story, and he winds up accepting some evil and dark energy. And in doing so, he gets his all-seeing eye, his one eye blacked out. He also gains the power to command 7 demons, and each one of these demons represent the 7 deadly sins. So we've covered a few of the most common satanic or Illuminati type symbols you've seen throughout most media for years. I consider this frame right here very important, especially to what I'm trying to explain. Because now we bring in a new symbol. Here's another one that we see all over the place, yet so few people understand what it really is. In this scene, somebody was trying to shoot something at the bad guy, and he winds up catching the bullet, and that's how he catches it. So of course it's lined up perfectly to where he's circling his all-seeing eye. And he's holding out the 3 fingers as well. This right here is the 666. So here's another example of something we see played out before our eyes all the time. This goes back to the idea of Satan falling to the earth. So here we have the hero with the bolt, a representation of the devil. The bad guy takes him up into the clouds and drops him at one point. So there we have Satan falling to the earth like lightning. As I said, now that I've told you this, if you're new to this kind of information, you'll begin to see more of this in all kinds of media. You may remember this example from a few years ago during one of the Super Bowl halftime shows. Lady Gaga is a tool of the beast system. She's been completely sold out to it, and they use her all the time to put forward their ideas. So this was yet another reenactment of Satan falling to earth. So here's another example from a different Super Bowl halftime show, and this one is Katy Perry. Katy Perry is another one of these artists that's completely sold out to the beast system, or the Illuminati system, and is constantly used. Here she is reenacting the fallen star from heaven. Once again, Satan falling from heaven. You may remember the Red Bull jump from space. This is from a few years ago, but this right here was a public ritual in my opinion, and another example of Satan falling to the earth. Here's an image of a Red Bull commercial from several years ago, and right here you can see them flaunting the 666 right before our very eyes. Our whole world is controlled by just a handful of corporations, and if you really look into these corporations, you'll see the symbolism I'm showing you time and time again, all kinds. So now we're going to go just a little bit deeper, and there's another element to this film. Shazam, the character, is constantly referred to as the perfect man, or the God-man. All of this goes back to the lies of the devil himself, that we can all be our own gods without any connection to our Heavenly Father. So it's important to bring that up because Freemasons and other secret societies do run the world. I see this all collectively as the beast system. This is why, once again, we're constantly told some of the same stories over and over again in all media. And this lie is no different, that we are our own gods. So this is from famous occultist Manly P. Hall. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy. I hereby promise the great spirit Lucifuge, Prince of Demons, that each year I will bring unto him a human soul to do with as it may please him, and in return Lucifuge promises to bestow upon me the treasures of the earth and fulfill my every desire for the length of my natural life. If I fail to bring him each year the offer specified above, then my own soul shall be forfeited to him. And this is an example of making a pact with Satan from Manly P. Hall, who would certainly know. He's a very well-researched author and occultist. Here's another example from another famous Freemason, Eliphas Levi, where he says, "What is more absurd and more impious than to attribute the name of Lucifer to the devil, that is, to personified evil? The intellectual Lucifer is the spirit of intelligence and love. It is the advocate, it is the Holy Spirit, where the physical Lucifer is the great angel of universal magnetism." So I'm showing you this so you'll understand that everything's been inverted. So the reason I find it important to show you those quotes is so that you'll understand Luciferian doctrine, because we're living in Luciferian doctrine. We're living in the upside down. Everything's been inverted. Everything's inverted, so we're seeing evil personified all around us in all of our media, all over the place. But of course it comes to us in the form of light. He transforms into an angel of light. And on that note, this concludes what I wanted to share with you about my experience watching the movie Shazam. If this was the first time you've watched one of my videos, I'm very grateful that you made it all the way through, and I hope that you learned something from this. Living in this beast system as it fully manifests before our very eyes, we're constantly hit with these same ideas, these same symbols. It's all around us. The best way to combat this is with knowledge at this point. Now you understand. Now you have a clearer understanding of what you're actually seeing in, quote, entertainment. But what's most important is to understand the underlying meanings and what they're really trying to tell us. I know it's crazy, but it's true. I know it's crazy, but it's true. We're constantly seeing variants of biblical stories played out before our very eyes in all forms of media. Once again, it's occult. It's hidden before our very eyes, and not everyone's expected to see this or understand it. So until next time, thank you so much for watching my video, and take care of yourselves out there, alright? And I'll talk to you a little later.